Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coast Files, your podcast for ocean mysteries and true crime. I'm Chantel.
I'm Lindsay.
I'm Megan.
Hello,
And happy
welcome.
birthday to Lindsay
Happy
tomorrow.
birthday tomorrow.
Are we going to try to
Tomorrow.
sing? Okay, let's.
Yeah, you guys go
Are you
ahead.
sure?
I'm just gonna sit
Okay.
back.
Okay, wait. Okay. Okay,
You
so
count
I'm
us
gonna-
in.
Yeah. So it's 1,
Okay.
2, 3, and then on
Start.
the next beat, start. Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly.
okay, got it.
Okay. 1,
1,
2,
2,
3.
three.
No,
No, Lindsay, you don't count. You don't sing
I thought
either.
you wanted
It's
me
your
to count.
birthday.
I thought okay. I thought it was counting you. I thought it was a conductor. Just, okay.
Already,
You
I
guys do it.
know it's going to be
Okay.
bad. Although,
All right,
you know
all
what? I
right,
think
all
that
right.
Lindsay has the biggest delay from me. So if me and Chantel are
We
kind
were
of
actually
close,
from what I heard, we were
Not for
exactly
me.
on time for 1, 2, 3. Okay.
not for me.
It sounded perfectly in sync to me. All right, you go.
This is a peek behind the curtain.
Entertain
Listeners
me
may
for
not
my
know
birthday.
how bad the delay is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Chantel.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday
Why are you singing
to
so slow?
you.
You were saying You're just so focused on not having a delay.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. We're on the third course.
You know what? That's great. I think we'll leave it there.
Happy
I don't
birthday,
particular-
Lindsay!
Thank you.
Happy
Thank
birthday!
You know what? Just spending time with you guys, even virtually, is a great birthday present, and I'm happy. So,
Okay.
yay!
And
like,
now
I'm
you
not
know how
happy
it
you can
feels
stop. I'm happy.
to be
Yeah.
to be on the
You
other
know what?
receiving end
It's
of
the
whatever.
effort that counts. So,
Well,
We'll
I
just
mean,
leave
we
it
did
there.
Try.
Exactly.
I
Okay.
wasn't. Okay.
Well, I
Yeah.
apologize for that.
Yeah.
And
I don't.
We are,
You're
we are
welcome.
recording in advance, but when this comes out, Lindsay's birthday is, we said tomorrow, I think.
yes, tomorrow.
And I'm sure Eric has all kinds of presents and diamonds and nice things. So we'll
He's
just
getting
count
The
the
kids are off with the
massage.
grandparents. Oh,
Yeah, that's
right. And I
Oh,
have the day off work.
that's
so
right.
I will
We
be
talked about it.
relaxing, getting a massage.
Ugh,
And
that
that's
sounds
exactly
so
what I want. And
nice.
we'll probably order sushi later. And maybe I'll have a margarita. I don't know. It'll be
I love it.
You know
relaxing.
what? Make it 2. It's your birthday.
Yeah, go
I'll make it
wild.
too. Yeah.
Damn,
That
that's
is
wild
wild
for
for
me.
me too.
Okay, well,
Two with two
fantastic.
kids.
I know we have a couple of plugs to make, right, Megan? So do
Yes,
you want to
so-
make yours and I'll make mine?
So the new one, and again, because we are recording today, it all happened just now. So we have a new sponsor on coffee, which is phenomenal. If you aren't already, go to ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Coast Files Pod. I'll have it linked somewhere. Anyway, if you just search Coast Files on the coffee.com website, you'll find us. And that's where you can just follow us to be a supporter, or you can donate so that we can make this podcast free for us. Because right now it's all just us. We don't have any MeUndies or Casper mattress or Brooklyn.
It is just Coast Files, just so you know. Just Coast
Good.
Files. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that we got that done now because I
Yeah.
probably was going to
We
forget.
almost supported the Coast newspaper.
Yes,
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one time.
We're not the Coast newspaper, although love them. So
Right.
we have a new supporter today. They're doing $5 a month, which is just freaking phenomenal. And this is the buy us a coffee level. And the name is Magenta Monsoon, which is the pen name. But I think
I love
Magenta
it.
Monsoon
I
sounds
love it
awesome.
so much. Yeah.
Sounds like
I love it.
a character. It's some kind of like fantasy.
I picture like an X-Men.
Right.
I picture they're like part of the
Oh.
X-Men.
Mm.
which is real. So you're right.
Yeah.
So that's not.
Yeah.
Well,
it.
Magenta, thank you so much. $5 a month to get a shout out, and
We appreciate
sure we're
you.
but we appreciate you so much. And if you want to be like Magenta and be cool, you can go and donate. We have a couple different tiers, or you can literally just follow us. We just love hearing from listeners that are not our family or friends. So
Mm-hmm. And
Please
thank
follow
you
us.
again. We
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you.
it.
We appreciate it. All right. And I have one more thank you to say to my friend Sarah McClellan. She's actually Sarah started when we were starting out. Sarah really helped us. I connected with her. Sarah is an expert in podcasting. She's been doing it for years. She started her own back when I don't even know how she did it. I was like, how are you figuring all this out? She was doing her own editing, posting. She did it all on her own. And her first podcast was called Intoxicated with Sarah. And it was really
stolen.
I was actually on it for one episode. So
Oh,
she believed
yeah,
in
I
me enough
forgot
to
about
bring
that.
me on. But anyway, Sarah was such a good resource, and she helped us so much in the beginning. And she's now branching off and starting her own business, consulting for podcast. So if you would like to start a podcast, I'm going to put her information up on the screen. Chantel can do that later. There we go. There it is.
There it is.
And
Yeah,
I'll
right there.
just I'll put it somewhere in the description for the episode, so you can go check her out. And if you're just curious or want to learn more, she's the person to go to. So, all right.
She also does
now
stand-up
we're-
comedy, so she's really funny. So
oh,
follow
yeah,
her as
she's-
well. Like,
and
hilarious.
so
very,
follow
very
her no
cute
matter
cat.
what.
yeah,
A
yeah.
very, very cute cat.
Yeah, she's amazing. So
Thanks,
she's
Sarah.
great content, and we appreciate you, Sarah. So thank you so
Yes,
much.
we love you. Thank you.
All right. Anything else we should add before I start?
Oh, very, very important.
Yeah.
I love you both very much.
Oh, I love you guys.
This is, we always like once a week we just break down like we love
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
This is the best thing ever.
If it wasn't for my husband, like,
Oh yeah. I mean, Damien's like he's proximity, you know. We're a little further away, so
you know, we've already talked about this 1,000 times. That the end goal is to have a compound. I know compound gives cult vibes.
yeah, we won't
but,
use,
like,
we won't call it
that's
compound maybe.
Yeah,
but
Lindsay doesn't like
we'll-
compound, but I think the
No.
compound really makes sense for what we want to do. And
I'm
essentially,
sure we can find another synonym for it.
Community,
Synonym.
communal living,
Communal. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
where, you know, we're all, you know, married, we're rearing Lindsay's children together because we're not going to have any. And,
Wait,
you know, the
a
husbands
family
are
with-
there.
With kids, so they can't marry each other.
No, we're
we're-
going to let outsiders come in, but I'm just saying
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
all the
They
We're
have
not
to
going to
come.
make our
Okay.
kids be incestual, okay?
Maybe we
We're
can
not
edit this
weird.
out. That's not at all where that was going.
All right,
I
we'll
meant
edit
the
this part.
couples live together on a plot of land. We have a farm, communal garden, you know, and we're just there
Well,
together.
My grandma actually lives in a condo, and she has friends in her building, so they can just go downstairs for happy hours and stuff. And it's
That's probably a cheaper
nice.
option than what I'm envisioning.
There's
yeah,
a
so we could
place
just do
like
that.
Yeah.
across the street from where my brother lives that they're making like this. It's like a senior living where that's what it is. It's kind of like more communal where they
yeah.
don't need help. They're just where seniors live and they can like have activities that they do together and all kinds of that stuff. And
Right.
I think that's
Yeah.
really good. And that we
Well,
should be doing
it's
that
good
at
for
any
your
age.
brain
We shouldn't be waiting
stay
till we're
social.
seniors
I know.
to do this. So,
I know. I'm ready to
anyways.
live close to you guys again.
yes,
Me too.
yes, we all need that.
All right. Okay. So, continuing on with our Great Lakes mini-series,
Mhm.
specifically Lake Superior, I'm going to tell you the story of the most famous shipwreck on the lake, the Edmund Fitzgerald. But before I get into that, I have a special listener story from Margaret, also known as my
Oh.
mom.
Your
So
mom,
it's-
Mommy Margaret.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I did, ask her for this story, and she's told it before when we first started. I'm finally getting to it. So, thank you, Mom. So, my mom grew
Thanks,
up on
Mom.
Lake Superior, the Canadian side, and she actually took me there once when I was 9. So, I have been to Lake Superior. I can confirm it looks big. It's cold. Looks like the ocean. That's what I remember. It was
Good,
freezing.
because I thought that those are all lies. And now I know
Yeah,
for
no,
sure
that's all
that was
true. I can confirm I was there.
Verified.
And this was in the
Yeah.
summer, and it was so cold that I did not want to go in. But
In the
anyway.
summer.
Yeah, it's cold. Like
I've been on Lake Huron in the summer and it's freezing. It's like colder than the
Yeah.
ocean. I still go in,
yeah,
but it's cold.
I think it was colder than the ocean. I don't.
Hmm.
Maybe I went in like partway. I'm not sure. Maybe I went in just to say I went in, but either way, very cold. So here is my mom's story. This is actually about her dad, my grandfather, and we'll go from there. So it was November 24th, 1921, American Thanksgiving, when my father, Wilbur Tom, and 3 other crew members ran into a bad storm while bringing a reconditioned tugboat called the Arbutus from Marquette, Michigan to Sault Ste. Marie. This happened just east of Grand Marais, Michigan, and about 1 mile offshore from Deer Park. Fortunately, the Coast Guard became aware of the floundering boat and went out to save them. My dad, who was the boat engineer, used to say he was holding on to a wooden mast and the captain was hanging onto his coattails. He credits his long woolen underwear for keeping him alive. They were brought ashore and treated to a Thanksgiving dinner. Apparently, the arbutus, which had been used for rum running, had actually sunk previously a few times.
Throwback.
The story of the arbutus is well known in the nearby shipwreck museum. So,
Holy
Wow.
crap.
true story.
That's scary.
Yeah,
That's
man.
really
so,
cool.
I almost wasn't here because of Lake Superior is what I'm getting at.
Very
Well,
happy everyone
Thank
lived.
you for not taking her.
know,
Or him,
like-
I mean.
God.
So I asked my mom to elaborate a little further on like rum running, and she's like, I don't actually know much. I did find an article. I'll have to read it later and let you know if I find any more information. Because I was like, wait, was my grandfather a rum runner? She's like, no, he never told me that. But he was also a
but
man
he
of few
wouldn't,
words.
right?
So I'm like, what did he tell you?
Yeah.
You know, maybe he just didn't want you to know. So
Yeah, this is
anyway.
where you're gonna do research and you're gonna see an old photo. You're gonna be like, wait a minute, like it's an old mugshot.
Yeah.
You're like, that's my grandfather. I hope that happens.
Who's that man in the
Yeah.
glasses with the big nose and the mustache in the back?
I know, right? So I was also wondering, like, because she said the ship sunk previously, and she wasn't really sure the story, but like maybe they tried to like pretend to sink it because it had alcohol in it. They didn't want to get caught, something like that. So I'll have to look into a little bit more. But just wanted to give you that little background story.
Oh, that's
Just
yeah,
a tidbit. I love it.
But as very very scary, but I am glad that like everyone was okay because my God, as we have learned, a lot of shipwrecks in this area.
Right, a lot. So my grandfather's boat's down there too. So
Creepy.
all right. So like I said, this was actually in November. It was by
Classic.
the way, it was 21. My grandfather was just literally that much older than me. He was old when my mom was born, and my mom was like late 30s when I was born. So
Mhm.
yeah, he was quite a bit older.
Because your mom's
So-
like the younger one of the family,
Yeah,
right?
she was
Yeah.
like she's the youngest by at least 12 or 13 years. So
Wow,
she came
yeah.
later.
Families are built so different now. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
there's not
know.
if it's the same parents, there's not normally an age gap of like a decade. That like my
Right, and
my
they were
mom
the
does
same
have that in her own
parents,
family, but
so- yeah.
Vadim does with his sister. But that's because his parents had him when they were younger, and then his sister's like 12 years younger
Ah.
than him.
and
Oh,
she's like,
yeah.
okay, now we're ready to have kids. And
Yeah,
we already
basically
have
that's what
him.
happened. She was like, okay, yeah, I think I'm ready to have a kid now. And it's like,
There's actually a woman that I
Yeah.
used to work with, and her and her husband at the time were like high school sweethearts, and they have two kids that are about our age, maybe a little bit older, a little bit younger, and that was kind of like right out of high school kind of thing. And then their daughter, who was now like 19, 20, and that was like, okay, now we're ready to really try. Although
Yeah.
they already had two kids,
yeah.
it's just kind of funny.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, even my kids have a little bit of a gap because
Yeah, but
this was
but
now a
yours
better
is
time. It
more
wasn't-
like
yeah, it was
yours,
like
yours makes sense. Like yours is like my brother and sister, the little ones. Like it's like a 4-year ish. Like that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
a little more
for sure.
sense.
Either way, I don't have two under two, which was nice
Yeah.
for me.
Fair.
Sorry to Jonathan.
Yeah, my brother.
Uh,
yeah.
God.
It's okay. They're past that point, but
Yeah,
now-
they're-
now
they're
the other
in-
one is
they're smooth.
too, and it's
Right. So now
they're
you're
not
all
smooth
over
sailing
him.
yet. No.
All right. So November, there's a famous song by Gordon Lightfoot.
Gordon
You may have
Lightfoot.
heard of it. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. He's a Canadian
national
folk
treasure.
legend, right? National treasure, and may he rest in peace. He sang about the Edmund Fitzgerald and the lake that never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. So that brings me back to the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. If you'd like to look at my first photo, you can take a look at her.
What a beauty. A beaut.
Yeah, it's got a lot of space on her there.
Yeah, it
That's,
looks big.
It looks very
yeah.
like deep in the water. It makes me concerned.
Well, I mean, maybe you should be concerned as we go on.
Nothing
Edmund
bad happens
Fitzgerald.
to this boat, right?
No, it's not called the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald for any other reason.
I
other
thought it
than-
was just because they were like
catchy.
mentally just stressed out. They were a wreck, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That, yeah,
Mhm.
of course. So the Edmund Fitzgerald was built in 1957 by the Great Lakes Shipbuilding Company in Michigan, and they were contracted by the Northwestern Mutual Fund Company. So they wanted to build a ship big enough to carry large loads across the Great Lakes, specifically talconite, which is a type of iron ore. And this would be shipped from Minnesota to the steel mills in Michigan and Ohio, and it could be turned into steel for buildings, train tracks, machinery, you name it. So sound like a profitable business, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of iron ore coming in. I remember reading that on like every shipwreck on the last one. I was like, I don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to look up any further. So thank you.
It's a lot of iron.
Yeah, I know
right.
it's important because every ship has it.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact. So where Chantel and I are living, and where Lindsay lived for a bit, there is a city called Hamilton, which, if you know, you know. They were. Is that me or you? I hear an alarm. Is that Lindsay? Yeah,
Okay.
it's normally me. There is a city called Steel City, which is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
duh. But then where I grew up, Sydney, is also called Steel City. Because
I'm
like,
sure there's more than one than Steel City.
I
I'm sure if you
wonder.
Every
Googled Steel City.
Big city probably had some type
It's
of
like bam, bam,
steel
bam.
coming in.
Yeah.
All right. So the ship was named after the president and chairman of the board of the Northwestern Mutual Fund Company, who was honored to see that when he and his wife showed up for the launch of the ship on June 8th, 1958. So
He
obviously
didn't
his
know?
name was Edmund. From what I read, it sounded like he was, I don't know if he knew before the launch. Maybe he did, probably. But I think they were like, yeah, we're naming the ship after you. And he was surprised.
I mean,
Good
that'd be
too.
pretty
An
cool.
honor.
Mhm.
Yeah. So his wife was going to christen the boat. She attempted to strike it with a champagne bottle, and it took 3
Uh-oh.
attempts.
Oh,
which, is not a great
no.
omen if that happens. So,
Mm.
afterwards, as the ship
Don't let a woman do a man's job.
Satire, sarcasm. Everyone calm down.
everyone knows it's the champagne's fault. So,
Yeah, exactly.
well, as the ship slid into the water, it actually created a huge wave. And the wave crashed into the stand, shocking thousands of onlookers. And it put someone in so much of a shock they had a heart attack and died. So this happened.
God.
So already
Not good.
yeah. Right. A lot happened on launch day, and it was not great.
They
Sorry,
should have
we're-
just scrapped it. They
we're
should
not
just
we're not
scrapped it right
laughing that
then.
someone had a heart attack and
Yeah.
died. That's horrible. But if you
It's just
know
like,
the story of
could
this
this
boat,
day get any worse type of
like,
thing?
yeah, it doesn't end well. And the fact that
Right.
there's already 2 things where it's like, good morning, this is the first time this boat's going to be in the water, and there's a bad omen, and then someone literally
Literally
dies.
dies. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just be
Great.
like, you know what? Scrap metal. We're done. Different boat.
Yep.
Start
Yeah.
over.
Try again. Despite the rocky start, the ship became the pride of the Great Lakes. Basically, she was an icon. And after
And a murderer.
And at this time, and for the next 13 years after she was launched, she'd be the largest ship in the Great Lakes at 729 feet long, 39 feet deep, 75 feet wide, weighing 13,632 tons.
God, these ships are
Sorry,
huge.
13,622?
632 tons.
So
Jeez,
how
big
many
ship.
how many
That's huge.
octopuses are that? Is that?
Oh my gosh.
I can't
I'll-
speak.
We'll have to put it on the screen. It depends on what
There we
octopus.
go.
Some are from Chantel, some are itty bitty.
Yeah. Let's
some
go
are
with
a
the
lot
giant
bigger.
one. You know, not the
giant
blue
one.
ring. So let's go with the giant
Okay.
Pacific. Okay.
1 million blue-ringed
I
octopus.
think not
is the
even
same
1
weight.
million would be enough. They're so tiny.
Exactly. So yeah, largest ship at the time. The ship itself was
Jazzy.
actually fairly nice inside too, compared to other ships doing similar jobs. Like the captain had decent quarters, so did the crew. So it was pretty nice. It was a nice ship. It also broke records. So for its cargo, it broke a record for carrying over 27,000 tons of cargo in a single trip.
Jesus.
It also
a lot.
had many cute nicknames, such as the Fitz, the Mighty Fitz, the Pride of the American Side, the Toledo Express, and others as well.
I like calling it the Mighty Fitz. That sounds cute.
I know, right? I'm going to probably call it the Fitz for a lot of my episode because at some point I got tired of writing the Edmund Fitzgerald.
That's
and
fair.
I
That's fair.
the
totally
Fitz
get
makes
it.
sense. Or I put
Um,
either EF or the Fitz.
So another like funny antidote. Antidote? Antidote. Help me.
Antidote?
And
When
poison.
I wa-
Do we need an antidote?
If I'm poisoned, it's fine. I think I've lived long enough. Knock on wood. When I was going to school in Newfoundland, I met a big crew of people from working down at the bar. You know, you meet one person, then you meet their friends, and then ta-da. And his name, maybe I won't tell his whole name. His last name was
Yep.
Fitzpatrick,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone called him Fitz. And then it's like that thing where no one goes by their first name because everyone is called Matt, Michael. Like everyone has the same fucking first name, so they all go by
Mhm.
their
Right.
last names. And then him and I also had the same birthday, December 12th.
Oh, it's a
Crazy.
good day.
It's a great
It is
day.
a good
It's
day.
a great
12.
day to be
Easy.
born. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, Fitz. So the Fitz is doing good. The Fitz looks good, and they have nice
Fitz was
bathrooms.
recovered
and-
from that the start.
Mhm.
And many people would look out for her. She passed reports such as the Sioux Canal, which is a waterway that passes between Sault Ste. Marie, Canada, and Sault Ste. Marie, USA. I didn't realize there was one on both
I
sides.
didn't know that.
I didn't realize
Yeah.
that either.
It's like they both want to claim it. Okay.
Got it.
So this canal connects Lake Superior to Huron, and the captain at the time was known to play music. Like he's like a DJ, and he'd also shout
love
out
it.
to
He's a
like, the
SoundCloud DJ?
onlookers, like talk to them. So it was quite probably the event to come and watch.
He
the
sounds like
Fitz come through.
like he likes to party. You know.
He's like the cool
Yeah.
uncle, you know?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I think so. So you can actually go to my next photo. In 1975, 17 years into service, the Fitz was now captained by Captain Ernest McSorley. So that's a picture of him right there.
McSorley. That's a
He
restaurant I
looks
like to go to, actually, McSorley's.
Same guy.
Yeah, same guy. Yeah.
He looks like he's from the 50s and 60s. He
Oh,
just has that
Yeah.
look. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but
But you know that he's
Well,
only
he
like
was-
40 years old there, but he...
This is his 32nd birthday. I was actually almost
It was a
gonna
hard
watch
life back
this.
then.
oh my
Yeah.
god. Oh, sorry, I
was
was
recommended
be
this-
like 32nd birthday hilarious.
This
Sorry.
YouTube video of like, why do people look older, back
'Cause
then?
life was
than they do
hard.
now.
It's
Yeah,
all
it's
the-
easy.
All the nitrates in the meat.
Well, it's
Yeah, it's
also
not the
no,
winter
it's also
wars
the
and,
Yeah, that's
it's also
probably
the
it.
way that they dress. Like once you were over 30, like you dressed like you were over
Sorry,
30.
over
like look at the
30?
Golden Girls.
No. You were
No.
21 years old and you were married with 2 kids.
No, but
Dressing
look at the Golden Girls. Like I
Right.
think Blanche is only like 42 in that or something.
Oh, well, yeah, definitely for that show. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the
The
makeup, and the hair.
hairstyles. Yeah.
The hair, everyone was permed and shorts. Like,
Yeah.
like there's other ways. Like I'm not dissing short hair, but they had like old lady haircuts and they
Yeah.
were in their 40s. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he just looks like he's had a hard life and he's probably 35.
Well, he started captaining the Fitz in 1972, and at this point of my story, he was about to do his last trip. So I'm assuming he's about to retire.
Okay.
he
So
is
he's
older,
retired.
right?
He has
Yeah.
an excuse.
He's had a
then.
long career. And he was a well-respected captain, so he's got that.
I like
It was November 9th,
I feel like this is about to get sad.
1975.
Don't get
November.
attached to
And-
him.
November. Yeah.
November
Captain
on Superior
McSorley-
is not good.
No, we've already known. The song says it. I don't know. Did you get to me? I don't know the percentage of shipwrecks that were from November.
No,
Chantal? Maybe
I
you can
didn't.
find
But
that
like,
out.
I think every one that I
lot.
did was like November or early December.
Right.
Like it was like, just don't.
Don't do it.
Just pre-order, have it come in October, and then just chill
Just
and
don't.
wait.
Yeah,
Just don't.
exactly. So yes, November 9th, 1975. The weather looked good. There was reports of a storm, but it was supposed to pass by and not be a problem. The Fitz would be heading to Detroit, Michigan after starting in Superior, Wisconsin, where it loaded up its cargo of taconite. So you can see actually my next photo. This is the route where
Oh,
the
that's
Edmund
that's a long trip.
traveled. Yes, it is a long trip.
Oh, and it's
So-
I'll let you get there. Never mind.
Along the way, yeah, maybe avoid the
Excuse
end
me.
part. Maybe I should have put this up later. Along the way, connected with another ship, the Arthur M. Anderson, captained by Bernie Cooper. They were in contact via radio and agreed to take a more northernly path to stay closer to the shore as weather reports were starting to change. Now, as we know, it's November, so it's not a great time to be on
Bad
the
time.
lake.
And we
Well,
know weather is
the
so
worst time.
predictable.
Right. Especially like, I mean, I think they use a lot of the same technologies today that they use.
I really don't know to be honest, but all I know is that like nobody gets it right.
I've used that for a long time. Right. They always, yeah, they'll be like, it's going to be sunny. I'm like, I trusted you. I didn't bring my
Yeah.
umbrella.
I am looking outside and it's raining right now. What do you mean 90%
know.
chance of sun? Like
So anyway, it didn't work that well for them either. They had to kind of observe and prepare.
mm-hmm.
So the Fitz was the faster ship and it took the lead. So on November 10th, which throwback to my mom. That was her birthday. It is her birthday.
Oh,
But this,
Happy birthday.
right.
she remembers this happening on her birthday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We did talk about that a while ago. That's right.
Mhm.
Right. So happy birthday, Mom.
Happy belated.
Okay. The ships were starting to flex in the waves, which is actually a good thing. These ships used to be built really rigid and they wouldn't be able to handle a lot of turbulence or waves. So at this point, they were building ships with superior steel so that they could handle these waters a bit better. Around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the winds began to shift. And by 3 o'clock, Captain Cooper had lost sight of the Fitz, but he could still see her on the radar. Waves were being reported at 12 to 15 feet at this point. So
Oh
pretty
my God.
big waves.
Yeah.
Especially for a lake.
Especially
I
they're
still
only
forget how-
39 feet deep, the ship, and then probably even more so once they're like in the water.
water,
Once with the weight
right.
on them, right? So then you have
Yeah.
a 12-foot. Those are coming over easily.
I hate those
Exactly.
videos of like people on the open ocean and like their cargo ships and the water just it seems to cover the
splashes all
entire
over.
front.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
And once
so
again-
And I
upsetting.
think that's
This is a
probably how it
lake.
was even designed. Like it has that, the
Yeah.
open part that they're like, waves are going to crash over it.
Well, and then the
but-
water just like falls off of it a lot easier. They have
Right.
the holes and everything, and
Yeah.
they're ready for that. But it doesn't make it any less
I'm not.
terrifying. Like,
I'm
yeah,
not ready for it.
yeah.
And
Megan's
just in
not
case-
built for this.
Oh hell no! And in case people are curious, I have lots and lots of container ship stories loaded.
To come. Yes.
So I don't know if I'm going to do them
No
all
pun.
in one. God, you know what? Having a water-based podcast is so easy for puns. But
They're
I'll
endless, yeah.
I'll be doing that because I think everyone has a fear, and also they're just like because you hear about these container ships sometimes like losing cargo, and that's just fascinating. There's like on the bottom of the ocean, just container ships full of iPads.
Just
that's-
just killing the
Right.
ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal.
Anyway,
Lindsay,
continue.
continue.
There's lots of stuff. There's actually a story you're going to be covering, Megan, down the road that I know a little bit about that.
Oh.
That was in the. We'll talk about later. Okay. Anyway,
But if it's a container
Okay.
ship, I have a lot loaded because there's tons of stories.
perfect. So at 3:30, Captain McSorley radioed to Cooper saying they were taking on water and starting to list a bit, which we know from previous episodes that means they're starting to tilt over.
It's not good.
good. It's
You don't
not
want to list.
good.
It's not ideal.
Listen
Captain-
to me. You don't want that.
There you
Oh,
my goodness.
Sorry.
So Captain Cooper
Why?
worked on trying to catch up to the Fitz. Less than an hour later, radars went down on the Fitz, and McSorley asked Cooper if he could help guide them using his radar. So I'll radio to you. You tell me when we're close to where we need to be.
And sorry, is this 3:30 in the morning or in
Afternoon.
In
Afternoon.
afternoon, sorry.
Okay.
Which,
I actually
like,
had
nothing
military
bad happens
times
at
listed here, and then I was
3:30
starting
p.m.
to confuse myself. I'm like, at 15:30, I wasn't going to do
Like, what
that
the
to you.
fuck
I
is 15:30?
translated. Right. Yeah, afternoon. But it's winter, so this is probably almost
Yeah,
dark.
no, it's
at
getting dark.
3:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Also around this time, McSorley, so he had no navigation, and it was starting to snow too. So the visibility was basically zero, and no
Great, great,
navigation.
great, great, great,
Can't
great.
see.
Cool.
Just
Cool.
hoping to get his friend to help him out, essentially.
I like to drive my boat just with like my sense. Like I can just feel
Just close your
there's
eyes.
a rock
feel it.
here. I'm just
You know
gonna go
what?
this way.
I can
The
sense that there's
vibes.
a rock to my left, so I'm gonna go right.
That's how Teslas do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
nothing
they
ever
never get in
happens.
accidents. No, they
Nothing
never get
wrong
into
ever
accidents.
happens.
They've never
Nothing.
burst into flames or killed people ever.
No, never.
So Captain McSorley contacts the Coast Guard saying they were having trouble locating the lighthouse nearby. But this lighthouse, I guess, was temporarily not receiving any radio signals. So again, they're just like, any hope they have is
Great. That's
not-
like their one function, but okay.
right, especially during
That's
a
like
storm.
the only reason why lighthouses exist is to receive signal,
Work.
have a light. Yeah, is to be there, is to be a lighthouse.
Exactly.
There's the
So at
tower
night-
now. Like
Yeah. There's just something else to crash into. There's just something else
Yeah,
in the way.
exactly. I'm
Exactly.
gonna head towards that light. I think I should just
That
go
could be
right
it.
up.
Right. So at 1900 hours, Alcasona at 7 o'clock.
Hey, stop! Now you're flip flopping. You're back to Army time.
Sorry.
Hey, I know this very well. That's all that my clock is in.
Right. The Fitz
I have
is
to do
about an
math.
hour from the safety of the bay, but they are in the worst of the storm.
They were that
Shit.
close.
Very close, yeah. So Cooper was reporting waves of 25 feet, Captain Cooper from the other ship. So
Jesus.
waves are getting more intense at 7.6 meters.
Oh my
At
god.
7:10, Cooper messages McSorley to ask how they were holding up, and he receives a message saying, "We are holding our own."
Okay.
This would be the last message he receives.
Uh,
By 7:20, Cooper was no longer seeing the Fitz on their radar, and they could not contact them via radio. So he reached out to other ships nearby to see if it was just his radio, but it was working. So it was just that he could not contact the
my
Fitz.
That happened so fast.
Yeah, within 10 minutes.
Oh my
Jesus.
The
god.
Coast Guard he calls the Coast Guard to express concern about the Fitz. By 9 o'clock, Captain Cooper declared the Fitz missing, and Coast Guard cutters go out to look for the crew, but nothing was found.
Damn, man.
wow.
And based on this map, I mean, I know it's hard to kind of judge the distance, but you're right. They are so close to being in that bay.
Right.
In
Very
my
close.
brain, I always thought, they were in the middle of the lake when this all went down,
Yeah. No, they were. It's really
Close.
tragic. So at
Damn.
800 at 8 a.m.
In the
the
morning.
next day, some debris and lifeboats are found by the Anderson with Captain Cooper, and they could see that the lifeboats were not the lifeboat they found was not launched or anything like that. It was just floating in the
shit.
water.
It just came off the dock or off the deck. I mean,
right.
Gosh.
So there was, without a doubt, the ship had been lost.
oh my
Mhm.
god.
But they didn't even just send out a distress signal. So
But were
whatever
they even
happened
able
must have
to?
happened really quickly.
Yeah.
Right. No lifeboats launched. So they're trying to figure out, what
I mean, if they were
happened, but
listing
whatever
bad
it
enough,
did.
they could have just flipped all of a sudden. Like,
Yeah.
you don't,
And then
right?
before you know it, you're upside down and you can't even
Right.
reach radios because they're literally upside down.
Who knows?
Holy shit, that's scary.
So the Coast Guard in the days following looked for the Fitz, and on November 14th, the wreckage was located with a U.S. Navy plane that used an anomaly detector using a magnetic detection.
Okay.
It was 17 miles northwest of Whitefish Point, Michigan. You can see my next photo to give you a more close-up map. This is from Google.
God,
So you
it
can
is
see
so
exactly where it
close to the
was.
bay.
Yeah, it
That's
was. If it just been in the
insane.
bay, the weather system would have been much better, and they would
This
have been
is-
able to probably handle
And this
it.
is what I was saying about before, about how a lot of ships, they wreck because there is no protection from this bad weather unless you're in a bay. It's very hard to get there. And this is
Right.
that same point where they have a lot of these shipwrecks that happen. It's right
Yeah.
kind of around the tip of the point there. Mm-hmm. Damn.
And you'll notice too, there's a line on this map that is the Canadian and U.S. border. So
Mhm.
this wreck sits on the Canadian side, actually.
Just
The mothership
barely,
is
but we made
American.
it.
Yeah.
Just barely,
Yeah.
but it is in Canadian waters.
Damn.
All right. So a few days later, the Coast Guard vessel located the Fitz, and it was in two pieces. About 6 months after that, in May 76, another Navy vessel was able to take photos and confirm without a doubt that it was the Fitz, but they did not find any remains at that time.
I guess they couldn't go inside. This is in the 70s, so.
Right. You can actually go to my next photo now, too. This is a drawing that I found of what
Wow.
a site looks like. Yeah.
Holy crap.
So now this is not an artist rendering in terms of I think it looked like this. One piece is
This
literally
is
flipped
based
upside
off
down.
the real, what it really looks like.
Oh my
damn,
God,
how did
that's
this even
haunting.
happen?
I know.
That's
I mean,
right. It looks
to be
like
fair,
somebody
this is
cut
probably
them with
based off a newer photo rather than when it just happened. But
yeah,
you
but
get the
still, it looks
point
like
that
they
it's in
cut
two
in half,
pieces.
literally cut in
Right.
half. It looks like somebody took a buzzsaw and just went.
Well,
zzz.
now obviously the Titanic's very different because it was much, much older. But I mean, it
Mhm.
also split in half. So it must be
Right.
something to do with
A lot of
the
pressure
weight
on
and
the-
how it went
Yeah,
down.
so water
yeah.
must have filled up.
You're right.
Likely in the
That might
back.
not have happened from the actual accident. Could have happened on
Yeah,
the way
right.
down.
And
yeah.
I'll tell you right now, to this day, they do not have a conclusive story about
this is what
exactly what
happened?
happened. They just have
It's-
theories.
yeah. That's a lot of the ones that I was reading. It was just weather.
Yeah.
That's their explanation.
Right.
Is weather.
I mean, you know what? All it takes though is enough water and a wave at the right time when the boat's tilted it the right way, and then
Mhm.
ta-da!
And
I
there's
know that
lots
I'm
of
sure boats now are
iron,
different,
like
but
maybe things potentially
Shifted.
shifted after it hit a bad wave.
Yeah.
There was actually one video I saw with a theory where it could have started to take on water and it hit the wave and it kind of went down. And before it
Yeah.
could recover, like another wave may have
Yeah.
hit it,
Yeah.
pushing it down.
That's the Three
Um,
Sisters, the poof, poof, poof that they say,
Right, just
where they
gets
just
you.
come right
There's a
after.
rogue wave
Yeah.
theory that maybe there was like maybe a 35-foot wave that could have come by and it just
Yeah.
couldn't recover from that. It could have been taking on too much water during all this, and then one extra wave just did them in.
Yeah. Damn.
So months after the Fitz was officially found, so in 76, the Coast Guard released a report on what happened, and they said the cargo hold wasn't properly sealed and basically implied that like a crew error was at fault for the sinking, which the families and the public were outraged about because like
Yeah,
there's
come on,
no,
man.
like
They're saying that to try and get out of
That's
paying
insulting.
the family.
well, I mean the Coast Guard wouldn't
Perhaps.
have to pay them though, right? So I don't know why they just no
Yeah.
one thought that really matched the evidence, and they're like, there's no way that this seasoned captain on his last ride is going to not do things properly.
Oh my God.
So
I
it
just thought about it.
people
That
did
plays
not
into
like
those,
that theory.
the season captain with his, retirement date, that just plays into that like police officer trope, where it's the police officer movies.
day away
Yeah,
from
I was-
retirement.
I'm retiring tomorrow, and he gets like sent on a
I
case and he
believe
dies.
that was made famous by Lethal Weapon,
Yes, and there's
which is
another
a Christmas
really good
movie, by the way.
Oh, what's that other really good movie? Think about it later. Anyways, sorry, continue.
So there were numerous dives to the site. So in 1980, Calypso Expedition, which was headed by Jacques Cousteau's son, went down there and they took some photos and they tried to have a theory about maybe the ship broke on the surface and went down, but nothing was really proven. Other theories I'll tell you now think that the ship hit the ground at such force that it broke. So
Oh,
there's another. Because
Wow.
the bow had a lot of damage and like looked like it hit the bottom pretty hard.
it does in that picture, in that painting.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe it hit and then it kind of bounced up, water rolled around, kind of thing.
Yeah, it could have. It's really
Because I'm
hard
trying to think about how
I mean,
that other back piece is upside down. Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, right.
Do you know how
because
deep this
they
is?
don't have. It's about 530 feet deep. I have it down here actually.
That's pretty freaking deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, Calypso mission. Not much to say there, but that one happened. 1989 was a remote operated vehicle went down, organized by the Michigan Sea Grant, and you can go to the next photo. There's an actual photo of the wreckage.
Oh.
That's creepy.
So again, confirmation. It actually looks in pretty good condition for 89. This is
Yeah,
it does.
That word is very
14
clear.
years later.
You know
Right.
what? So water, as we know, like destroys evidence. But then with this lake, it seems special because of the cold element. So could that be a reason why like the paint hasn't chipped off? I mean,
Yes,
it's black
the
and
Well,
white.
it
It's
is a
hard to tell.
preserver.
To Chantel's
Yeah.
episode last week,
Mhm.
yeah, the cold really does preserve a lot of things. That's why, the Titanic's all rusted out.
Well, and
Not
I
that
wonder,
it's still cold there, but it's just different.
but
I guess
salt, like a salt, maybe
Right,
because
salt
salt's
water.
corrosive. So maybe the fresh water element too
the
makes it
fresh
not as.
water, and I think it's just there's literally nothing down there maybe to eat
Yeah.
it.
Because it looks like
Yeah, there isn't. There's remember, there's not enough oxygen. It's too cold. There's all kinds of reasons why there's nothing.
Yeah, it's just a different
going down there.
system than the
it's a
ocean.
creepy photo. Like you wouldn't really know that that's underwater if you just saw that.
Right. So many experts were part of the 1989 mission, and some important discoveries happened. So the glass and stuff was still intact. And it looked like there was like a door that had been left open that wouldn't normally, like someone would have had to like physically open it. It wouldn't have been.
Couldn't have been
something
like
that
the
was
pressure of the
open.
water, like pushing it open, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, I guess
but
you'll never know.
It looked like
really.
it indicated that it could possibly that someone tried to escape, but yeah.
I hate that.
Damn.
because the glass was intact too, like it didn't land as hard as people think. So
Okay.
they're just trying to piece together the evidence. But the bow did have a lot of damage that couldn't have just been from the storm. So
No, because what is the storm
Again.
like throwing rocks at them? Like that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like
Obviously, it
there was
hit
a
hard
giant in
enough.
the water just throwing these rocks at the front of it. Like that doesn't.
Do we have our own Loch Ness? Maybe.
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 I mean, if it was gonna hide anywhere, I'd hide in Superior. It's the biggest one.
Yeah.
Smart.
In 94, they had the Deep Quest expedition. This was Dr. Joseph McInnes and the executive director of the Great Lake Ship Museum, Tom Fernquist, who organized this. And their theory was that there was no way the ship broke at the surface. They thought it broke maybe further down or at the bottom. But during this mission, they discovered a body. Someone was lying near the wreck, face up, and
They
this
didn't, like,
actually led to a
float
lot of
up?
controversy because they had filmed all this, and the victims' families were really upset because, like, this is a gravesite. Like, these images shouldn't be out there, and I think they must have taken down like the body images if they put them anywhere, but it just led to a lot of controversy, which rightfully so. Like, if that was my loved one, I wouldn't want you to like show their dead body everywhere.
No, you're
I don't know.
desecrating a grave. Like
Yeah.
there's so many things. That's
Right.
like going to a, when there's like a murder and they're putting up these, even the photos of the sheet over and you can like see hands. It's such a weird, like it's icky. It's icky.
It's icky, but then people still are like
We're
looking for
morbidly
that.
fascinated.
I know.
Of course.
Right. Yes.
Like, I mean, even in the
So-
last one with the old Whitey, like, yeah, there's photos of him
Right.
everywhere. Nobody knows who he is.
That actually reminds me
Exactly.
of Mount Everest, how there's like green boots. There's like different people who have died on the mountain.
Yeah,
And-
they're the points, so you know
Yeah,
where you
they're
are.
markers. Like, oh,
Yeah.
when you get there's many, but when you get to this person wearing the yellow parka, like you're this many kilometers away, because they can't remove them. So, but then you kind of become like desensitized.
Mhm.
So I
Couldn't
just
they, if the families wanted to bury the body, or is it just
it's
impossible
like-
to remove
well,
it?
I mean,
It's,
think
it's
about
too
this.
big
This
of a
is-
thing to bring them down. That's
Yeah,
why
it's way,
dangerous.
way,
Right.
way too dangerous,
Yeah.
and it would be incredibly expensive. And sometimes it's just all those things together. It's
Right.
like just leave them, which is
Yeah. And in this
a
case,
weird thought.
in 94, especially, this was less than 20 years later. So, like, it's a lot different when the victims' families are, like, alive and well and they're
Mhm.
experiencing it. So, in 1995, there was a bell recovery that they went down to take the bell and replace it with a memorial bell with the names of all the victims on it, so they could
Oh,
display
that's
the bell
nice.
in the museum. So at least they replaced it as a memorial.
Mhm.
And then in 1995, Chantal might find this extra interesting. Back to her Blue Hole of the Hob episode. Two men,
oh my god, that's a big throwback. That's like
Mike
episode 3.
Leplowski and Terrence Teisel, dived down to the site at free dive.
Oh,
So they had the
wow.
right equipment.
Mhm.
So it's about, I think it's 535 feet, something like that. So it's probably around
Wow.
the maximum you'd go.
Mhm.
They went down to look at the site. It took them 13 minutes to get down there. They spent 6 minutes down there, and they actually touched the wreckage, like, with their gloves. But that was the
Wow.
first time, anyone had actually touched it since
Yeah.
decades, right? Since a whole disaster happened. To get back up, though, it took them 3 hours and 15 minutes. They had to go so slowly.
Jesus,
my
yeah, you
God.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they couldn't spend a lot of time down there. They just kind of were by the bow. They had their moments. They thought it was like a crazy experience to be there
Mhm.
and witness it, like, with your own eyes like that, and touch it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That must be
that's the-
so like I imagine that's like, someone who's really into like war museums and stuff and being able to go to a war museum and seeing that kind of stuff. Like imagine being able to
Yeah.
go down and see this when that is something that you love doing. Like that'd be insane.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't obviously take anything. They just went down.
No,
and
no,
looked.
no.
As far as I know, this is the only dive that people did like this, but I guess
Really?
others could have gone down. Yeah, like just without, going in a submersible type thing or unmanned thing. I think someone else might have gone down, but it wasn't like a kind of a free dive like this one
Mhm.
was.
Probably it's because you can only spend so little time down there. You wonder, like, you're
Right.
going to
It's
more
like if
likely go in a
they
submersible so you can actually look at things.
I take video and photos and
Mhm.
whatever.
And actually, in my references, there's a link to an article that goes in depth from them, like where like it discusses like
In depth.
even adding one more minute there would have increased their time to the surface by like 45 minutes. Like they'd,
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
yeah. So
it's nuts. I
Just
remember
send
like
that
looking
camera
at the
down.
math of all of it, and I was like, I don't
No.
understand this math.
It's not
And
worth it.
obviously
No,
they
it's
really
crazy.
have to understand it because it's like
Yeah.
it depends how deep you are and then how much time you spend at the depth. You have to like do this calculation for how long it's going to take you to get back up. So you have to have not only enough oxygen to get down, but enough oxygen to get back up.
And I imagine that the way
Right.
back up is where the danger zone happens, where you're like, oh my
Yeah.
god, I'm running out, but then you panic and yada yada
Yeah.
yada. Terrible. Don't dive ever.
exactly. No. But if you want to learn more about that, go listen to Chantel's episode number 3, I think it was back
Yeah,
when
it
we
was.
first started.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't
So
make
she
fun
gets
of us
into
for
all-
what we sound like then.
Well, you know what? I don't think there were too
mean, we're
many
still-
jokes because it was a
we're still
very sad
crazy, so-
episode. So I don't
Mhm.
remember
Yeah.
laughing a whole lot.
And it was a very long day. We decided to film 3 in one day. That was stupid. We were like, this
Did we
is
do
easy. We
3?
can do this. Yeah, we did 3.
Oh yeah, by the end I was I
We
think I was
had
pretty
no
tired.
idea. Yeah, maybe
Like,
that's why
it's
there
no
was no
problem.
jokes.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
And you had the saddest episode of all time, Megan.
I know. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
let's end on a low note.
just
Anyways.
just a hometown story about a mass murder. I was like, let me start with something so depressing. Needed to be told, and I don't
yes.
regret it. But
No.
damn, man, that
No.
was
Right.
hard.
We should have had we could have sprinkled our heavy hitters a little more. Maybe.
Yeah.
That's all
Hey,
right.
you know what? You learn a lot when you start a podcast for the first time, and I think we're doing better in terms of like choosing cases that week after week there's a bit of a flow. Some are lighter, some
Yeah.
are more sciencey, some are bad, but they're not all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We try. We try.
So have either of you heard the Gordon Lightfoot song? I'm just making sure.
Obviously.
Just making sure.
I
Okay.
mean, to be fair, in a very like sea shanty way, I don't think he actually repeats a line ever. Maybe there's a chorus, but it
Yeah.
very much is like he's singing a poem. So every
Mhm.
line is different.
Right.
So I just know like the da- 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 da-
Yeah,
da, but all the words, no. But everyone in Canada, you've heard this song before, for sure.
I know you don't need to know all the words. Just know that.
As soon as it comes on, I'm like,
it's
everyone shut up.
amazing.
You just listen and you just appreciate. I don't know about copyright, but maybe we can slip in a little bit of a sample somewhere.
Yeah,
I
that's
can
why
change it slightly.
I wasn't sure if you could.
Chantel will make it a
um,
little bit faster, and that way the
Yeah.
copyright bots
We'll miss
can't
it.
find it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Let me see. Yeah, or what I can do
These
is for
lyrics are
anything-
long.
Right? He's like, let me just write a very casual book about
Yeah.
the Edmund Fitzgerald, and I'm gonna sing it, and there's not gonna be a chorus or a bridge, so it's gonna be different each time.
No.
And just enjoy.
Yeah.
I might be able to do it for like maybe an Instagram post. Maybe you could put it in because we can
Mhm.
select it from the music. So
Yes.
you do
Listen,
that.
it'll happen. If you haven't heard it, you'll hear it when this episode comes out live.
Right, or press pause and listen to it right now. It's like 6 minutes long.
Who doesn't have 6 minutes?
It's a quick 6 minutes. Bring out the lyrics too,
Exactly.
otherwise you're not going to know what they're saying.
Although,
They're just reiterating everything that Lindsay just said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if
But-
you don't have an hour to kill, listen to that song, and that's the gist.
Yeah.
Right. Or if you really want to kill an hour, just let's do it 10 times and you're good.
There you go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
So it was actually really nice. Gordon Lightfoot asked permission before releasing the song to the victims' families.
Oh,
So
Gordon.
I know. You can actually
That's
go to my
something
next
that I feel
picture.
like
There's
no
a picture
one-
of Gordon Lightfoot when he was young.
he
I'm
looks
like,
he's
what
hot.
a cutie.
he kind of
I
looks
know.
like Heath Ledger.
I was gonna
A
say
little
Heath,
bit.
like
Oh
a
my
combo
God.
Heath Ledger and
Heath
like
and
Chris
someone
Pratt,
else.
like if they had a
Ooh,
know.
yeah.
I can tell by this photo he's wearing dark denim and light denim on top, and it's so Canadian, and
Denim
I love
denim.
this Canadian
I like it.
tuxedo.
Mm-hmm.
right. And a lot of people credit this song to actually preserving the memory of them and Fitzgerald, and kind
Yeah.
of even making its story more cemented in history, I guess, and making it like almost more relatable. It's like telling kind of exactly what the crew would have gone through while they're on the ship, and
Oh, I haven't listened to that song in forever, and I'm gonna do that when we're done. Well, my
Yeah.
pizza's being ordered because I have 6 minutes to kill. So
Right.
Well, I'm waiting for
And
pizza.
we can
yeah.
even link the Spotify or something in there. So
I'll
people can go
handle all
listen.
of that because
Okay.
people need to hear. And also, Gordon has a few more good songs. There's one that he did, and then in the 2000s, this group redid it, and it's like, if you could read my mind, love, what a tale my thoughts would do. Remember that song?
Yeah.
So he sang that song first.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bad a ghost and a wishing well when I reach the part. Anyway, it's a good song.
Hero
I'm not going to try to sing with you guys because it does not line up.
I don't know. Anyway,
Love that
if
song.
you know, you know. And
You know,
we're
right.
we're not doing it justice, I swear. He's much better.
I know. I'm just going to opt out of being a part of
Lindsay's like, I'm not gonna make a fool of myself right now. So
Well, I seem to have the most delay when we sing together, so I would, if anything, it would just.
Although just now I can hear one with Chantel. So like, listen, just have like no one is synced up, none of us.
But do you know what? When I
But
actually go
I
and I
can-
look at syncing it up, we're pretty synced up. I'm like, it's just not happening in the
oh,
moment.
all it takes is half a second for it to be.
Where
Like, it sounds
our
so
audio
bad.
is, but
Yeah.
us hearing it.
No,
It's
it's
not.
not. It's not.
Oh, a science occurs.
A science happens. And the podcast is
Speed of
created.
sound is just can't keep up with us. So
No.
that
The
must
speed
be
of the
it.
internet, really, more so.
So the Edmund Fitzgerald is the largest wreck in the Great Lakes. So
Damn.
Yep. And as of 2006, the site is protected by the Canadian government. So it is gravesite. You cannot
We got
dive
you.
to it without permission from the Canadian government because, like I said earlier, it lies on our side. So we got that.
But if you ask nicely, maybe we'll consider.
Right.
You coming
But it is
over,
an American
so.
ship. And also the men on it were American. So there was 29 men who died.
Ooh.
And it's kind of like, it's weird because it does have like a big following. And even though it's like, all right, not as many people die as say the Titanic, but this is like the Great Lakes Titanic. And people are really into it. I think I'm into it now after like researching it. Like I'm adding it to my list of things I'm
Of like
interested in.
obsessions.
Keeping an eye on
Right,
that
my little
Google. The
obsession,
Google
right.
searches, the alerts that there now.
29 people.
Is this your Roman
That-
Empire now?
That's a lot.
It's gonna be added to the list of things Lindsay likes. Or
Yeah,
I
not
still
likes,
feel
but
like
I like
that-
this.
that-
I like this.
things I want to learn more about. I won't say
I still feel like the Titanic is
that.
most women's Roman Empire.
yeah.
Not trying to
Right.
generalize. It seems like women are more into it. I think because the movie was like a sexual awakening for a lot of us.
Yeah.
For
well, and
Kate,
I already liked
for
the
Kate and for
Titanic
Leo.
before
For Leo, yeah, for
the,
both of them.
The movie came out. That's why I wanted to see the movie, and I was
I don't think he was
I
on my
remember making
radar.
my mom take me.
Yeah, I probably saw it on TV because, like, obviously the Titanic has they've been making movies about that for ever, like long before Cameron did his. So I'm sure like I knew of it, but it was not like that thing that I needed to see. I know that my dad and stepmom took us, and we all know that story.
Yeah, we do.
So
Mine was because of a National Geographic. I saw
Yeah, so
my parents got
that makes
National
sense.
Geographic, and I remember
Yeah,
seeing
I
it
know
in there, and I was
I
just
know the
like,
exact issue you're talking about because my
He's
parents
like,
had
I
it
was
too.
there.
Lindsay's like, I have it in a case in the other room. Let me go get it. Where's the key?
I will have to ask them if they still have it. They better still have it.
I
had
know
it
it's with
long
I
Jesse.
know they got
too.
rid
Jesse
of,
has
I
it.
think most of their, Jesse definitely has it. I think they got rid of most of their National Geographics, and like it does really make me sad that that is something. But you know what? It just gets to a point where you're like, what are we doing with all of this stuff? Like, why? Like, we had a cabinet full of just National Geographics.
All those
I'm actually
yellow
I'm wondering now if
bindings.
that was what drove my interest in the Titanic because
Maybe.
my parents
Probably.
had that and I learned a lot of stuff from those National Geographic magazines. So
So did I. We even
Wow.
had the National Geographic
Shout
pop-up
out
books.
National Geographic.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking
National
about.
Geo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm so upset that I don't have those anymore because I would love to give them to my niece and nephew because I
Yeah.
distinctly remember having this one, and it was like, here's all the different animals, and there was like a desert animal, and you could pull it, and it's like, this is the blue tongue skink, and you pull at his tongue, and he's like, yeah. Anyways, sorry to derail you for a second there, but
I know. I'm wondering
It's related.
when that issue came out because I don't know. maybe I'll have to look that up. But
Some kind of
We'll do
anniversary
that later.
episode, maybe.
Yeah.
right.
Kind
All
of
right,
related, but
so-
not. Sorry, remember the other books like DK something, and it would have like a cross section of like a pirate ship, and it would be all about like shipping and where they stored stuff and rats. And they had one for castles. They had one for ancient
Oh, I know
Egypt.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I
remember-
can't
had
remember the name,
Those
but
books were really like little encyclopedias for specific
Yeah.
topics.
so
right?
I'll find a picture and I'll show it and I'll post it because who cares?
used to
But
take them up in
Chantal,
the
you definitely
library.
know these. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were the best.
I
And it'd be
probably
like,
do,
hey,
yeah.
are you interested in the ocean? And it would be like literally everything. And they would give
Everything you
a,
could wanna
a
know
little
about the
taste. And if
ocean.
you were interested, you would just then look up that stuff later. But it was very,
Yeah.
very visual, beautiful hand drawn photos.
Oh, yeah.
And they would just, oh my God. I love to learn.
Same.
Same. So, just to give like a bit of a tribute, since there were 29 people who died, their names are Michael Amagost, Frederick Beecher, Thomas Benson, Edward Binden, Thomas Borgeson, Oliver Champeau, Nolan Church, Ramsam Cundy, Thomas Edwards, Russell Haskell, George Hull, Bruce Hudson, Alan Kalman, Gordon McClellan, Joseph Mazes, John McCarthy, Ernest McSorley, the captain, Eugene O'Brien, Carl Peckle, John Poviach, James Pratt, Robert Rafferty, Paul Ripa, John Simmons, William Spengler, and Mark Thomas. Oh, Ralph Walton, David Weiss, Blaine Wilhelm. Sorry, there was a few more at the next page. I almost
Goodness
missed there.
gracious.
And
R.I.P.
these men were from Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Florida. Did I say
Just
Wisconsin
all over?
already? Yeah, one guy
Wow.
from California. So the All-Americans, and those were the men who died. It looks like the youngest here is 21, a decade.
Whoa. That's young.
Wow.
I
So-
know that it doesn't seem that long ago. I mean, it is in theory, but you just don't. Maybe it's just I don't read enough news, but it just doesn't seem like there are shipwrecks as much anymore. Like I think back in the 1700s and 1800s, it was extremely common. But
Right.
to have a lake where there's a shipwreck, and obviously Chantel, you're like, oh, here's 400 shipwrecks. It still just seems like that shouldn't happen anymore. Seems like we're too modern for that.
Probably radar's gotten a bit better. Weather radar's gotten better. There's a lot of things that have gotten
Right.
better, which probably prevent it. But there's definitely
Yeah.
got to be things that still happen, like rogue waves
And you
that
think
can still take
they
them out.
learn
Like,
from these wrecks. That's why they want to
Yeah.
investigate and want to learn what happened. So, like, how
Yeah.
can we prevent this moving
yeah, and
forward?
they're
Even when
probably. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, even like the steel that I mentioned, how they started using different steel that would be able to like handle some of those intense waves and flex more with the versus breaking, which obviously this still did, but they're trying, right, to
Yeah.
make adjustments.
They're probably better at like being able to find people as well when
Oh, for
these
sure.
things happen. So, but there's definitely been there must have been. We're just not, like you said, it's just not really on our radar as much.
Or
to-
maybe there's not as many deaths. you
yeah,
know? So therefore it doesn't
Right.
really get into the news.
yeah.
Wow.
So, well, that is the story of the Edmund Fitzgerald, and thank you both for listening today.
I
Thank
learned
you
a lot
for all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're gonna exit everybody out by singing the Edmund Fitzgerald. No.
Okay, ready? No, everyone. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. But actually maybe what we'll do is that we'll play a little bit of it right here. And like we said, we'll post it, you know, so you can find it yourself, but we'll play a little bit so you can just get a little taste. It's very like sea shanty
yeah.
ballad.
It's
very
very,
folk.
it's very almost. It feels very Scotian. I won't lie. Like,
Yeah.
it's what you would imagine playing at like the lower deck some night. You
well,
know,
listen,
when
let's just be real. This has played at the lower deck.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure,
for
for sure.
Yeah. Just as like, and next up is Barrett's
It's
Privateers.
illegal to not play this
Yeah.
song in Nova Scotia or in Canada, I guess in general.
If
Okay,
anybody
well,
has
Lindsay,
not been to
that
Nova
was-
Scotia, you need to go there, and you need to go to our lower deck and just like on a Friday night when they're just playing all
Goddamn.
these.
Or
type
isn't the
of,
Black
uh,
Crow?
The Black Crow was also really good. Yeah.
I haven't been to bars there in a long time. Just go like Saturday afternoon. Like
To be fair,
3.
Sarah can probably tell us where the best places
Sarah,
to go now.
sound off in the
Yeah,
comments.
give us
Yeah.
more advice for other areas of life.
Plan a pub crawl for
yeah,
us.
there we go. A Coasties
I would
pub
love
crawl.
to.
Well, Lindsay, that
Yeah.
was, I mean, a very, very sad story, but I
Yeah.
had I hadn't absorbed the song, so I learned a lot of new things tonight. So
Yeah.
for that,
Actually, if
thank
you do listen to the song, it will tell you what happened as well.
Mhm.
So
If you want to spend less time, you could have
Mhm.
just listened to the song, right? But it was actually cool to learn about because I didn't know much about it. I mean, apart from what the song told me, but I kind of wanted to dig in a little bit more myself.
Mhm.
you want to dive on in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And also because Lake Superior is where my mom grew up, so it's a good story for me to share.
Mhm. Yeah, the
Mhm.
connection.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm reading the lyrics right now. They're pretty intense. But anyways, we're not good
All
at
right.
ending these things. So
We are today. Thank you for listening.
Thank
Follow
you.
us on Instagram.
Thank you for your story.
Thank you for the
I'm
story.
just throwing my mic away.
Did you punch that? Okay.
All
Sorry,
right,
we're coming apart at the seams here. But thank you everyone for tuning in and and listening. If you have any suggestions, let us know. Follow us, email us. Have you been on Lake Superior and you have a story? Maybe you have a family member that was involved.
because we are not done with Lake Superior. We're coming back.
No, we're not
for
even
more
near
stories,
done.
so.
Maybe
Like-
next week there's a case, and maybe Megan has to
Maybe.
start researching it right now.
I like
And
that. I like that.
Yes.
Okay, so we will say goodbye. We'll sign off. Thank you for
Okay.
listening.
We
Love you
love
all.
you. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening today. We loved having you. If you liked the episode, share with your friends, family, or anyone who would enjoy it. Also, take a moment to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. Leaving us a like or comment really helps. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, please visit our coffee page at www.ko-fi.com/coastfiles. Email us at coastfilespod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at coastfilespod, or visit our website at www.coastfiles.com. You can find the sources for today's episode on our website. See you next week with a new episode.